Hello everyone, and welcome to today's walkthrough. Today we will focus on psychology, and in specific we will focus on a study called the Robbers Cave experiment. This is a great study to carry with you into the exams as it deals with group thinking, the formation of biases, and managing and resolving problems. However, this video will just be a quick summary and overview of the whole experiment, and I'll post a link to the whole report, the whole paper written on it, as well as some other sites that explain it in case my explanation isn't good enough for you. But I hope it is, and yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so the Robbers Cave experiment was carried out in 1952 by Musafir Sherif with the intention to prove the realistic conflict theory. The realistic conflict theory states that hostility and intergroup conflict arises when individuals are forced to compete for resources. Sherif claimed that this should cause the two groups in his experiment to have negative thoughts and behavior towards each other. The participants in this group was 22 boys between the ages of 11 to 12. And the boys were all under the assumption that they were going to a summer camp in Robbers Cave State Park in Oklahoma, USA. All 22 boys came from a Protestant two-parent household, and this was in order to cause the children to have a similar background as possible. For the experiment, the boys were divided into two groups, where neither group knew about the other group's presence. The researchers posed as camp instructors and divided the experiment into three parts. Part one was the in-group formation. This is when they wanted to strengthen the bonds between the boys within each group. To do this, the boys in each group performed activities together in order to bond with each other. All activities they did, such as hiking, swimming, and even coming up with names with the groups, were to do to bond, to make the in-group bond stronger. And one of the big things, as I said, was that they named their groups. So you had eagles versus the rattlers. The groups even made shirts and flags with their group name on them, so they knew which belonged to which group. The second stage was the competition stage. At this part, the researchers introduced the two groups with the intent of rising conflict and hostility towards each other. They did this by having the groups pitted against each other in games like tug-of-war, and baseball, and basketball. And to further increase the conflict, the researcher would reward the winning team with objects. One prize was, for example, pocket knives, and the losing group wouldn't get anything. The group hostility rose, and even name-calling began to happen from one group to another. The winners of the competitions would always brag about their success, and this would reinforce the hatred the losing group held for the winning group. It even went so far that the two groups wouldn't eat with each other or near each other at all because they despised the other group so much. The part three of the experiment was the integration stage. So, as in part two, they had proven that conflict arises in competition. In stage three, they wanted to see if they could get the hostilities and negative thoughts to go away. So, by doing this, they introduced the two groups to common goals and have them work together. To further ensure that the setting would be as neutral as possible, they moved location. One task they had to do, for example, was to fix the water supply line that had been vandalized. The researchers also had the two groups agree upon a movie to watch, as well as figuring out a way to pay for the movie. When the once conflicting groups were given the same problem to solve, they learned how to work with each other and eventually achieve peace. For example, they fixed the water supply problem they had. Everyone contributed to the movie they wanted to see. And eventually, the groups even agreed to eat together and even decided to all travel together on the same bus, which in the stage before hadn't been possible. The result of the Robbers Cave experiment is that it did prove and was consistent with the realistic conflict theory, and it shows how conflicts and hostility arises between groups in competition when put in competition towards each other. But it also proves that common goals and achievements can set aside these previously held biases towards another group. So, that has been Robbers Cave quickly explained to you. I hope you come back and watch our other videos in the future. And to show support, please like and share this video.